Connor, Jenny, football fans, have we not got past this yet? I mean, we were saying during the break how much division it caused. I go to football regularly, OK, home and away, and it caused so much division amongst fans. It did the opposite of what it was meant to be doing. So, Connor, is it time we just forgot about the whole taking the knee thing? It caused a lot of anger last season. Why are we still doing it, or why are the players still doing it?
I don't think there was ever a time for it, because I think it was taking the fairly liberal and well-intentioned assumptions of lots of footballers who don't pay much attention to politics, who were against racism, of course, and folding it into the broader BLM movement of 2020. At the same time, there were televised riots that inflicted $2 to $3 billion worth of damage and ended the lives of 12 to 14 people. And so, understandably, if there is a violent movement going on across the seas that is indicting your entire civilization as institutionally racist, while you're trying to celebrate your hometown and your nation, and the people who are paid very well to represent that are signalling their allegiance with that revolutionary group, understandably, football fans are going to be irate for that. And that's still continued years on. And that's playing into the hands of those exact revolutionary activists who genuinely believe, because of critical race theory, that black and white people can't get along and get together. So that is going to cause more racism, because people are going to start blaming black people for taking the intruding into sport. And that's exactly what those theorists want. So that division is intentional. And so the taking the knee needs to be retired if people do really care about stopping racism.
Yeah, I mean, it really did, as I said, at football games I went to, it did cause a lot of heated debate. Jenny, what do you make about this? It's only going to be 50 games throughout the season, and it's going to be special games, whatever special games are, I don't know, maybe Boxing Day. But all the Premiership clubs have agreed to do this. What do you make of this?
Do you want to hear my opinion as a person with football history, or my opinion as a brown person?
Both?
OK. So most people in this country don't know this. No reason they should. But I used to work for the Cosmos, which was the first American professional soccer team. And we had Pele, we had Giorgio Chinaglia, we had Neeskens, we had Beckenbauer, we had everybody.
You did, didn't you? Blimey.
Yeah. So I do know my football.
You do know your
That's
football.
why I didn't answer that question before. And so a large part of it was always social conscience. So the team always did a lot of work in the community, et cetera, et cetera. OK, so that's my football history. My brown person history is I've always been a brown person. I'm a little bit browner now because I've been out in the sun, but I've always been a brown person. Personally, I don't believe in things like taking the knee. I just don't believe in that. I feel that I want to live my life as best I can, be the best example of myself, and that's what I care about. I feel that in most instances, doing things like that just serves to antagonize people and has the complete opposite effect of what you're trying to do. However, I do feel that a lot of the people who scream about why it has to stop and the facts and the figures and blah, 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 sometimes I think that that's covering up for stuff. So basically...
Covering up for racism?
Covering up for feelings that they don't know necessarily that they have. So I think that people should take the knee if they want to. I don't think it has any use whatsoever. And I never thought it had any use whatsoever. But I don't understand why it makes people so angry.
Yeah, actually. Why does it make people so angry, Connor?
Because
you seem to get quite angry.
Well, I disagree with the signalling of an allegiance of an explicitly revolutionary Marxist group who have such a low expectation of black people that they think that quote-unquote whiteness is the same as the Smithsonian put out, which is the Protestant work ethic and being on time. So they genuinely believe that the enforcement of low standards on American black people is the way to go and they can't live with white people. This is their express mission statement as an organisation. And then the Football Association decided to put them in a rotating chyron around the stadium. They decided to try and have them on armbands, and the taking of the knee was a gesture of solidarity with that movement. And I think if you're going to insult an entire people based on their race, both black people and white people, and say that all white people's civilization is institutionally racist, and you demand that at the start of every single game the players show solidarity to that group, of course people are going to get irate about the gesture because it's indicting them, their skin colour and their culture.
Do you know, but the thing is, a lot of people don't know where taking the knee originally came from. And so when you ask people, OK, what is the history of taking the knee? They start talking about Colin, what's his name, in 2016. And taking the knee started back in World War II. And it was something that was done by the army. And the idea was that when you were stressed out, you wanted to rest, you wanted to get your mind together, you took the knee. And then there were departments in the army who did it to demonstrate their feelings against lynchings of black people that were going on in the South. That's where taking the knee originally came from.
But then you can't conflate that with the present racial issues. And Colin Kaepernick had co-opted that and perverted it. And then the Black Lives Matter movement is not just against the deep segregation in the South. In fact, Derek Bell, one of the leading critical race theorists that they uphold, said that desegregation was a mistake.
Well, I don't agree with the movement.
I absolutely know you don't. So... You're not a crazy person, Jenny.
Oh yes, I am. I have my own kind of crazy.
Unfortunately, by the high ups at the FA and the like, and the players, I think unwittingly signalling their allegiance with this group, it is sowing that deep division. And they might not know what they're not standing for. But if the people in the stands saw, hey, weren't people having their businesses burned down and weren't there riots that people got away with over in the States because of this, maybe I don't like that very much.
And the one thing I wanted to raise as well, which I did find angry, so much so, it did make me angry, so much so that I actually boycotted it, which was ridiculous because no one actually cared, was the World Cup in Qatar, where you had the hypocrisy of footballers who were taking the knee at the Premiership games, but then going out to a country where there is the homophobia, there is misogyny, and there is blatant racism. We think of the poor souls that lost their lives building those stadiums, who are mostly from the Indian subcontinent. So do we think there's an element of hypocrisy, the fact that some of the very same players are out there playing in that World Cup are now going to be taking the knee again?
Well, I think that the World Cup should never have been in Qatar.
No, absolutely.
So I can't get any further than that because I think that was just absolutely awful.
No, absolutely. So what do you make about that?
I think that's obvious and blatant corruption. And I think as well, the reason that money is behind this is why you see a lot of performative virtue signalling. This is the same thing with the ESG scores, the environmental, social and governance scores. You see pretty much every corporation signed up to. This is why they fly Pride Month banners. This is why they're so committed to net zero. This is why they do Black History Month stuff. Most of the time, these corporations don't sincerely care about this. Instead, they're getting subsidised by the large hedge funds, which say, this is your corporate social credit score. If you do this, we'll give you money. And you have to outcompete to be the most woke. And so, yeah, they can build their stadium in Qatar and give a dodgy contract to some oligarchs and lots of indentured servants die. But as long as they take the knee, well, the hedge funds are happy.
Exactly. Take the knee in your rainbow laces and enjoy the football season.